right. Well, I am going to get started. We might have a couple of other participants trickling in over the next couple of minutes. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining today. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to talking to you guys about innovation and how innovation can help you solve complex challenges and increase your impact. All right, so just to kind of start everybody off, these are some things that a lot of nonprofits struggle with. Outdated tech, taking up valuable time doing everything by hand, not maintaining tech or tech not being reliable, having unclear solutions to various challenges, or even just lacking certain skills to build and test solutions. These are lots of different challenges that we have faced in the past and helped partners overcome. All right, so a little bit about me. My name is Lila Berryman, and I am the Innovation and Funding Specialist at Venture to Impact. I grew up in BC in the Rocky Mountains, and I spent a lot of that time taking road trips around North America with my family. And when I was 16, I spent 3 weeks in Japan living with a family, and that was sort of my first big experience with different perspectives and different cultures, and it really sparked a lifelong interest and passion for different cultures and countries in me. I also have a bachelor's degree in international development studies and French from Dalhousie University. And as I said, I currently work as the innovation and funding specialist at Venture to Impact, where I guide human-centered design and innovation projects in collaboration with local nonprofits. So our meeting for today, we're going to start off by doing a little bit of a poll and talking about what design thinking actually is, what kinds of challenges it can help solve, how to choose a challenge if you have lots of different challenges that you like to solve, what V2I can offer partners, a couple of spotlights of different partnerships we've had in the past, and then we're going to go into a little challenge identification activity that will help you identify some major challenges that your organization might be facing. And then finally going into a question and answer at the end. So if you have any questions that you want to save for the Q&A, feel free to throw them in the chat and we will get to them then. So interesting fact, according to a 2017 Bridgespan Group study, 80% of nonprofits aspire to innovate and recognize that innovation is a really helpful way to solve challenges and advance your work. But only 40% of those nonprofits felt that they were actually prepared to innovate. Because innovation, it can be a little bit of a vague concept, and it can be hard to wrap your head around how exactly to start with that. And that's exactly why we're here to help. All right, so now we're going to do a poll. I'll just need a second here to launch it, please. Sorry, it just might take me a second here. We are going to skip the poll for now, just in the interest of time. But I will just say really quickly, these are some critical challenges that a lot of organizations are facing, and so might be helpful to help kind of inspire some reflection on your own challenges. Lots of technology challenges around still using pen and paper, or other manual methods to track data and impact. Another issue that lots of nonprofits face is a lack of funding to update tech infrastructure, like websites, donation systems, things like that. Or additionally, often pre-built tech solutions that are on the market either don't meet a nonprofit's needs or are out of their budget. Another sort of set of challenges that often are faced are called wicked problems. So these are problems that don't necessarily have a straightforward solution or a simple answer where you know what you need to get to. This might be something like struggling to identify the needs and values of the communities that you serve, or you've identified a problem, but you aren't sure how to begin approaching it. Many times there are organizations that have identified a problem, but lack the time, money, and/or experience to solve it, or they have attempted solving a problem, but failed to come up with an effective or viable solution. So these are all things that we can help out with. All right, what is design thinking? So design thinking is one method of innovation. It is an innovative problem-solving approach that examines challenges and designs solutions based on the needs of those directly impacted. It's also a human-centered lens to innovation and development that seeks to co-create solutions to complex challenges with those who are directly involved. And finally, it is an iterative and non-linear set of steps and values that can be applied to complex and undefined challenges. So it's a great way to really structure the problem-solving process if you are approaching a complex problem. Now, I do want to say design thinking and innovation isn't always the best approach. There are some ideal contexts for applying design thinking and innovation. Those ideal contexts are around non-optimal solutions. So if a current solution that you have to the challenge fails to meet your needs, or if past attempts to solve the problem have been unsuccessful and you're unclear on why that might have been or how to address those past challenges. Another type is wicked problems. So these are problems that require a complex and holistic view of a situation, and they can't be solved by just gaining like one piece of information or individual pieces of information. They require that holistic and intersectional approach. Finally, there are projects with really niche requirements. So projects with specific needs that aren't commonly met by generalized solutions or that require specialized skills and knowledge to implement. Now, lots of organizations are facing lots of challenges, and sometimes it can be a little hard to figure out which one you want to approach first, which one will have the greatest impact for you if it's solved. And so these are just some ways that we suggest going through your challenges and identifying which ones might be a biggest priority. So based off of our past partnerships, most successful innovation projects and partnerships address challenges that meet the following criteria. They pose an immediate risk. So if they are unsolved quickly, this challenge poses a risk to your work and your impact. They present an opportunity. So if solved, this challenge has the opportunity to greatly increase your work and impact. They're important to leadership. The challenge should be important to the leadership and executive team. There should be a staff champion. So a staff member is available to lead the engagement with V2I and coordinate actions on the partner's side. This takes approximately 2 to 3 hours a week, although it's definitely flexible depending on partner needs. And then additionally, it's helpful to have some allocated resources as well. So organizational resources, including but not necessarily limited to financing, being available or dedicated to help solve the challenge can really help kickstart it. Just a little note on financing. We never want a lack of funding to prevent our partners from reaching their full potential. And so if your challenge does meet all of these criteria, but you don't have a dedicated budget, we can absolutely explore other options, such as finding a corporate sponsor or applying to grants or other funding opportunities. But just please note that they take several months to go through that process. So those are best for longer term or non-urgent projects. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what V2I offers. We're really building out our innovation partnerships and offerings, and we've separated it into sort of two distinct types of partnerships. So we have Innovation Volunteer Alliance partnerships. These are best suited for a clearly defined challenge, often relating to training development, strategy recommendations, process digitization, or technology improvements. They typically take 6 to 9 months. And then the solution would be skilled professionals from V2I's community of volunteers will be engaged to research, design, build, and test a solution created specifically for your challenge and needs. The other type of partnership is an innovation to impact partnership. These are better suited for more complex challenges with no clear or straightforward solution. And often relate to greater social and global challenges of poverty, inequality, climate change, and the digital divide. And then because of the complexity of these challenges, they take a little bit longer, typically between 9 to 24 months, depending on the challenge and the partner needs. And then the solution for that one is that V2I's innovation team will lead you and the impacted community through a human-centered design process to develop and test innovative potential solutions to your needs. This is our process for human-centered design. So we start off by aligning on project expectations, values, the challenge, and the partnership scope with the partner to make sure that everybody is all set up for success. We know what we're looking to achieve. We know what our parameters are, all of that. Then we go into our discover phase, where we learn about the context and experiences with the challenge through research and ethnographic interviews with those who are involved. Then we move on to defining the challenge context and those related needs through research analysis and consultation with the affected groups again. Then we will ideate. So this is where we co-create with all sorts of different stakeholders, various different concepts to address those defined needs of the affected groups through multiple co-creative workshops. Then we test the final concept to determine its impact and its viability at scale. And then finally, we learn about the outcomes and impact of the project, as well as how the concept might be improved in the next iteration. And as you can see, this is a circle. We can keep iterating on things and keep learning. There's always more to learn. Just depends on, what we're looking for and the scope of the partnership. All right. Some partnership spotlights. So a past Innovation to Impact partnership that we had was with Pathways to Education Canada. So Pathways to Education, they needed to reimagine the way that they collected student insights. They are an organization that supports high school students to complete high school and find, good post-secondary institutions and their desired careers. And so they wanted to collect feedback from their students to reflect a timely and deep understanding of their day-to-day experiences instead of just getting feedback at the end of the school year that didn't really allow a whole lot of time to make changes. So our innovation was that we connected with key parties in the Pathways ecosystem to learn about their challenges, motivations, aspirations, and we also held multiple co-creation sessions with them before aligning on a final concept. Then V2I's community of skilled volunteers were engaged to build a prototype, which was then piloted with Pathways students. And it was in the form of a micro-survey app, such as this one right here. The impact of this project was that we prototyped and tested a concept for gathering timely student feedback. We got insights into the student motivations for providing feedback, and we also strengthened Pathways' ability to collect timely and actionable insights from students and incorporate them into product and program development. Another partnership that we are working on at the moment is with the West Mariam Massafa Fund and Skill Without Borders. Our challenge for this is how might we support Canadian tech employers to meaningfully recruit, engage, and retain the diverse talent of refugees, newcomers, and immigrants. This was a much more complex and in-depth process. We conducted an in-depth discovery and ideation with a variety of skilled newcomers and Canadian employers to learn about their challenges in finding Canadian employment and develop potential solutions to decrease some of those barriers. Our innovation that we came up with was a two-pronged approach. So we had cultural and leadership training for newcomers, as well as education and support for employers on shifting to a skills-based hiring approach, which has been shown to decrease bias against diverse applicants. The project is currently completing its first iteration, but so far it has been really positively received by both employers and newcomers, and they've given lots of great feedback and insights for the next iteration. So stay tuned for updates about that project. Finally, this one is a bit of a more individualized example. It doesn't follow exactly the partnership types that I outlined earlier, but this was with the West Mariam Massafa Fund, the Canadian Refugee Saw Association, and the North Pine Foundation. So their challenge was that there are an increasing number of global refugees, but Canada's capacity to privately sponsor refugees is limited, and they wanted to ideate around some ideas of how might we improve refugee private sponsorship to make it more efficient, supportive, equitable, and effective for all stakeholders. So this innovation was actually an in-person project. We facilitated a one-day intensive design sprint, ideating with a variety of stakeholders who are involved in refugee sponsorship. And it resulted in 4 concepts, which were then taken to be voted on by a larger group of stakeholders at a conference and then piloted. So the top rated impact concept was an automated system to track and record various metrics for SAWs, who are sponsorship agreement holders, the organizations that are sponsoring refugees. And so that frees up capacity and resources for them that can then be spent on sponsoring and supporting more refugees. All right, so we are going to go into a challenge activity. I will get the link in just a moment. Okay, so if you go to this link, you'll see that there is a Jamboard. Hopefully everyone is able to access it. And so this is a challenge identification activity that is meant to help you kind of figure out what potential challenges your organization might be facing that are worthy of a design thinking challenge or project. And then if you end up uncovering something that you want to discuss more with us, you can absolutely reach out to me and schedule a one-on-one chat and we can talk about it more later. This also might be a great time to come up with some Q&A activities or questions, apologies. So you'll see at the top here that you can just click between different pages. If you could just go to a page that has no name and organization and just throw in your name and organization up at the top so that everybody knows that that is your page. I have made a sample one here for myself with Venture to Impact. And so write your name and your organization at the top of the page. Then we're going to be going into a rose, thorn, bud exercise. Pretty straightforward. All right, so we start off with a rose. This is really to kind of get you to reflect on what's going well at your organization right now, what's making a lot of impact. So you can double click to edit on these and then, yeah, just go through those. We'll have a couple minutes on the clock. I will just be talking and providing perhaps some ideas as I go through here, but after we do the rose, we'll be going through to the thorn, which are things that signify difficulty at your organization. So things that are challenging or hindering your ability to achieve your impact. And then finally, we're going to talk about buds, which are potential new opportunities for growth at your organization. So we can get started on that. And I will put some examples in here just to maybe help people get some ideas going. Things that might be working well could be client engagement. Maybe you have a program that's got fantastic engagement. People are really loving it, got lots of great feedback. Maybe you have a really great monitoring and evaluation process. And then thorns, like I said, things that are challenging. Maybe this could be a lack of funding. I'm sure that's one that many people are facing. Funding, maybe lack of technical lead. A more complex thing that might be hindering your ability to fulfill your mission might be personal like beliefs or motivations of the community you're working in. And then buds. These might be new activities that you are just starting up or ideas that are coming up in meetings, just potential ways to grow. So maybe a new training program for your clients. There could be an opportunity for knowledge sharing in the sector. Maybe you want to develop a new app or something. And I'll just have 2 more minutes to fill that out. This will remain open as well. So if you want to go back to it after this webinar and to refer back to it, you're absolutely welcome to do that as well. And we will be sending out a recording of this webinar. One way to help evaluate the difficulty of implementing a project is to look at it by the knowledge and time required to approach that challenge. So, for example, addressing communal motivations and beliefs probably going to take a lot of time and knowledge, whereas knowledge sharing in the sector, maybe not so much. Can be a helpful way to evaluate your ideas. Right, we'll just have one more minute here and then I'll go over to the Q&A. All right. Well, feel free to keep working on that activity if you'd like to. Like I said, it will be open and you're welcome to refer back to it. But now, Q&A. Does anybody have like any questions, anything that you would like to discuss, points that you'd like to bring up, anything like that? Feel free to either come off of me or type them in the chat, whatever you prefer. Anyone have any questions or anything you'd like to talk about? Give it a couple more minutes in case a question comes to mind. All right. Well, if there are no questions, then I think we can wrap it up. I just want to say thank you again so much for coming to this webinar, everybody. I really appreciate it. If you are interested in learning more about V2I's innovation, or if you want to chat with us, whether you want to just get some advice or talk about a potential project or really anything, you can absolutely reach out to me. My email is lila@venturetoimpact.org. You can also find us on LinkedIn or at venturetoimpact.org. Yeah. Any final closing comments or questions? No? Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate it. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.